From the streets of Hanoi to the desert of Santa Fe, food trucks and chefs making magic every day. Umami and chow, a fiery display. Rice and complex sauces in a delicious array. Southeast by Southwest, a culinary delight. From Thailand to Albuquerque, flavors take flight. Pushing the boundaries, creating new heights.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Southeast by Southwest podcast, a podcast exploring the food and stories of Asia, the southwestern United States, and beyond. So today I am so happy and proud to be sharing this episode with you. It is an episode and a topic that's very close to my heart, and today we are going to be talking about food, story, comfort, and how food connects us to our own family story. So I will be talking with some very incredible food producers and chefs that I respect very much, who will be sharing some of their own stories about how food connects them back to their family story and how they also share that family story with the community. So as we enter the holiday season, a time where food is oh so relevant and the comfort of food really comes into play, I think it's a great time to be talking about all of this. You know, in my own family story, some of my greatest memories surround food. I was raised by a Midwestern mother and a Thai father, both cultures food is central to, and I have really beautiful memories of going over to my aunt's house. My aunt, her name was Samli, called her Samli in Thai, which is like the honorific term for our paternal aunt. And Samli stood about maybe 4'5" at most on a good day in heels, you know, and she had this modest little house in Muncie, Indiana. And I would say, a bit of a punky, resistant teenager, maybe slightly typical, but maybe even a little more hard to reach in my teen years. I was a bit of a contrarian type, but awesomely knew exactly how to break through all of those barriers in me. When I came over, she knew exactly what I liked to eat. She would make it to a T. She would make somtam in just the way I liked it, with no shrimp paste. It was a little too funky for my taste at that time, but it was a beautiful pounded papaya salad with just the right amount of garlic and chili and lime and sugar and fish sauce, and it was so good. And she would steam fresh sticky rice and grill chicken or make marinated pork for us with a little bit of dipping sauce. And I just remember sitting at her old brown wood table in her little kitchen and feeling the delight through her as she watched me eat her food that she made for me with her own hands with love. You know, awesomely never quite acculturated to American culture in a way that I really respected. She would cook on the floor, so she would lay out a grass mat and get out sometimes a low table and do all of her cooking and chopping and prepping, squatting down, pounding the papaya salad in her big stone mortar and pestle on the floor, do all her chopping down there. And she had this incredible laugh that I will never forget. My awesomely is still living. She's moved back to Thailand, so I don't really get to enjoy her food anymore. Of course, she's later in her years, but I want to pay homage to her in this episode in the ways that she loved me with her food. Another dish that really brings me right back into my family story is boiled rice. You know, these foods don't have to be complicated. They can be very simple, very heartfelt. And I just remember mornings where my dad would take the leftover rice from the rice cooker from the night before and put it in a pot with a bit of chicken and a bit of stock maybe, and just boil it down until it became a porridge. And I would, you know, stumble out of my room as a teenager in my PJs, and there would be this beautiful pot of boiled rice with chicken on the stove. And I would ladle up a big bowl, cover it with peanuts, a little bit of hot sauce, a little bit of chili, and it would just warm my belly and my heart. And not only that, but I just tasted the love that my dad has for me in that dish. And so now my sister and I both pass this experience of loving comfort on to our own children because it's so simple. You almost can't mess it up. And it's a beautiful dish to have, especially on a cold morning. So first off, we will be hearing from a restaurateur and a chef that I respect so much from right here in Santa Fe, who will also be telling you about an exciting opportunity for you to take part in our food and story coming up in January.
Hi everyone, I'm Hue-Chan Karels. I'm the chef owner of Alkeme restaurant here in Santa Fe, as well as Open Kitchen, that we do private events, curated experiences, as well as travel to Vietnam and other parts of Southeast Asia. So as a Vietnamese who left her country almost 50 years ago, I was 9 years old, and a dish that my mother made for us throughout the time that we were living and growing up in the U.S., our new home, first in Michigan, is a dish called thịt kho, and it is a braised pork belly done in a style akin to a Chinese origin, braised pork belly with caramel sauce. And most recently, with my trip to Vietnam, I was able to get the recipe from a great aunt who is our matriarch. And I think this is where my mother ate the dish that she then made for us. But I was able to spend time with this great aunt, and all the way technique-wise, where she shopped for the best and freshest pork belly, and the care that she took to make it, meaning 9 times washing this pork belly and, with different methods of cooking and cleaning it so it tastes very pure and delicious, recipes that all of our family love. So I was able to get that from her, and that really brings me home every time that we taste this dish.
Hi, my name's Erica. I'm the executive chef and general manager at Alkeme, a heritage culture to table concept restaurant. Coming from Taiwan, my first state that I came to the U.S. was Hawaii, and then New Mexico. So I've, kind of observed kind of the trendiness of food scenes around these 3 places. I think a lot of things has been taken over by machine, which I still value the handmade method because I think the human touch does give it a little different edge, and it does customize to every different piece of ingredients are different, right? So like the dumplings that we make here at Alkeme for our brunch menu, I personally got taught from my grandmother. It was something that we make during Chinese New Year or when family comes back. When there's a lot of hands, a lot of labor, we'll gather around the table and make dumplings and then freeze them. And then we'll eat it throughout the days. Here, so I brought it to Alkeme, and then I taught our chefs, who are mostly Latino heritage Mexicans, how to make dumplings from my heritage. So I thought that was a very cool exchange. In addition to that, I think we're serving our winter and fall menu right now, which on there is a dish, the Taiwanese braised beef noodle soup. We handmade our noodles. We hand pull our noodles, including on the top there's also a 6-hour braised short ribs that we cook. Usually we don't use short rib in Taiwan, but I think here it really tailors to the clientele that we have here, and it does give it another fattiness, smokiness, another edgy kind of touch to our dish.
Yeah, and that reminds me, I think across our cultures there are noodle soups that really speak to a sense of comfort. I know that in Thailand we make a soup that's pretty adjacent to a pho type of soup, and the smell of like the cinnamon and the clove in the broth to me is something that really brings me back home and gives me a sense of comfort as well that I make for my own children. So really what we're talking about today is how food can provide a sense of comfort even when we're not in the place where we originally had that, and also how we can share that sense of comfort with others through sharing that food and sharing that story. As we talk about this, are there other thoughts that come up for you around sharing food, what it means to you, or how you like to do that through the medium of the restaurant?
Yeah, so as a Vietnamese overseas, and there's a word for that, it's called Viet Kieu. And currently there are over 5 million Vietnamese Viet Kieu living around the world. And this just really surprises in a good way to me that regardless of where we Vietnamese live and outside of Vietnam, it's just a boundary that we take our Vietnamese-ness, being Vietnamese, wherever we live. And I think that that's very special, and it gives hope that you don't have to be at a place of your origin to still carry with you your values, your memories, your sense of self, identity through your culture, and primarily through food. And so that really gives me, as a Vietnamese who grew up in the U.S., who connect with other Vietnamese when I go back to Vietnam or when I travel around the world, a sense of connection. And, sitting and eating pho in Paris, or having pho in Houston, or having pho in Saigon, they may taste a little different because of where it's made and the ingredients, but the essence of what pho is and who's eating it and what it makes us as Vietnamese feel are a common thread. And I think that that's very, very special.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that I love that, and I love the way that culture is brought, within us to be shared wherever we are, as immigrants or as the diaspora from our own country. And I know that in Thailand, whether you're fed is like the most important thing. It's how we greet each other, and I wonder if it's the same in your cultures. It's the way we greet each other is like "Gin Kao Young," which means "Have you eaten rice yet?" Basically, like, are you okay? Because if you've eaten rice, you're okay, So like that's like the greeting that we use, and it conveys care, and just that simple phrase of it's like hello. It is hello, actually. So I know, Chef Erica, when we were talking previously about dumplings, you shared something interesting just about dumplings and their connection to the new year and luck. Would you mind kind of talking about how that looked for you growing up and how that was shared?
So I think dumplings can be eaten, it's like a daily food, but then it's also eaten during special occasions. It does have a special meaning because the looks of it looks like the coins from back in the days. Just seems very heavy to me. But a tradition back in the days was whenever we're doing hundreds of dumplings, right? My grandma would put like 1 or 2 little coins inside the dumplings. So whoever out of these hundreds of dumplings, if you bite into one that has the coin, that means you'll be lucky for the whole year. We kind of changed that tradition just because of the hazards of biting into a actual coin. We started putting wasabi into the dumpling, so whoever gets the wasabi means they will be lucky for a whole year. Yeah.
Super cool. So, of course, as we know, the new year, the Lunar New Year especially, is a very significant time for East Asian cultures, and Alkeme will be presenting a special menu on that. Chef Erica, would you care to share more about that?
Yeah, so every year during Lunar New Year, which is a little different every year on the actual date. So this year on February 1st, Saturday, 2025, we'll be doing a Lunar New Year special menu. It is available on our website right now. You can go on there and look at the menu in detail and register through our website. We will have dumplings like we just talked about, some noodle dish, that every dish, and in detail the chefs will come out and explain, but every dish has its own meaning and blessing on the upcoming year, which is snake.
So for those who are not familiar, the Lunar New Year is celebrated first and foremost from the Chinese perspective, and also from the Vietnamese. We also like to call it the Vietnamese New Year, and other cultures as well partake and celebrate. Like I know that the Thai culture celebrate the Lunar New Year. And each year is characterized by an animal. So this coming New Year, which is the first day of this Lunar New Year, is January 29th. And this year is the year of the snake. There are 12 animals, and so we'll say goodbye to the year of the dragon, which is currently the year. And then each year, to complicate things, to make things fun, is that we, in addition to the 12 animals, there are 5 elements. So this coming year, for the year of the snake, it's the wood element. So there are 5 elements, wood being one, water, fire, metal, and earth. So it's very significant, and it's fun to kind of look up your horoscope for fortunes and what you can expect for the new year. So we'll have fun doing that and sharing our fortune and our what to look forward to on February 1st when we all see folks doing our Lunar New Year dinner.
Beautiful. That sounds so great, and such a great opportunity for people to really touch in on some very real cultural sharing here. So thank you for that. So another thing that I know will be coming up is the Cook and Feast series, where people will get a chance to get their hands into the food a little bit and cook their own. Could you share a little bit about that as well?
Yes. So once again, we're working with our friend here, Chef Derek, to resurrect some wonderful recipes that we had worked on previously together, cooking class-wise. So Chef Derek and I will be cooking 3 sessions, actually, a series of 3 cooking classes. 2 will be Thai focused, and 1 will be Vietnamese. And guests will have an opportunity. It's a small, intimate, very hands-on, interactive session where we will cook a meal and then sharing it on the same evening. It'll start at 5:30 at night, and I know that there's one session on a Saturday where we'll start at 10:30, but it's going to be 3 hours of joining other like-minded foodies and cooking together and then feasting on the meal. So we look forward to sharing the recipes, going a little deeper, and having all recipes available for you to take home. These are all recipes that both Chef Derek and I have tested and have cooked with guests, so they're easy to replicate at home, and all the recipes have ingredients that we can share with you where to shop for. So the objective here is for you to share onward these recipes to your friends, to families, and so forth. So we look forward to that opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you. So now, Hue-Chan, I think it's a good time to ask you about the Heart and Home series that is coming up in the new year at Open Kitchen as a way to share exactly what we're talking about. Would you like to share more about that?
Yeah, so I'm so thrilled that we're able to bring this concept of heart and home to life. So Heart and Home is just what it says, is that we are cooking. We have an opportunity, myself with Chef Derek, in January through special menus that we will be sharing home cooked meals. So imagine eating a beautiful spread that your grandmother or your mother or your great aunt would make when you go home, or you then bring forth that same concept to your own household. Chef Derek and I will have that opportunity to, and we have designed some amazing, humble, heartfelt meals that in the Asian culture is eaten all together. A little soup, a little rice, and some protein and or vegetables that are savory and salty, balanced with some pickles, and washed down with some soup. The whole menu is designed so that our guests will get a glimpse of what we grew up eating in Thailand or in Vietnam. So we hope that this is a special opportunity for our guests to go behind the scene and share our upbringing and memories with us.
I love that so much, and thank you so much for the opportunity to participate in this. Some of the fondest memories I have are going over to my aunt's house and just having a good meal cooked for me. And she knew what I loved, and her hands would make that for me. And I just remember the smell of garlic being pounded or whatever, chili in the kitchen. And I'm really looking forward to the opportunity to be able to share that with our community as well. Just that very special, intimate experience of food that's not flashy, but it is so filled with heart. I think it's such a special experience. Oh man, I just have so much love and respect for these ladies over at Alkeme. They are doing really, really incredible and vital work in our community, and I cannot recommend enough that you stop by and see what they're doing, especially the part this New Year in January where I will also have the great honor of participating with them. I really want to invite all of our listeners to come out. Try the cooking experiences, try the seated dinners. I promise you, you will not be disappointed by the experience that you have there. If you want to check it out, go to their website, Alkeme Santa Fe, ALKEME-SantaFe.com, and look at their events tab. You will find it. Just scroll down. It's right there. You can sign up, get your spot now. They are filling up fast, and like I said, you will not be disappointed. So next we are going to be hearing from another woman that I have tremendous respect for. Not only is she the premier kimchi producer in Santa Fe, and you will find her at Santa Fe Farmers Market and Albuquerque Farmers Markets, but she is also just a person who lives her values, and that is a quality that I respect so much in someone. So in today's episode, we're talking about how food serves as comfort, and also how it ties us back into our family story. And for so many of us who have immigration in our story, we know this so well. When you come to immigrate to a new place, you leave everything familiar behind. You leave behind the things you know, the things that give you comfort, predictability, and safety, and you launch yourself into a new land. And I think you don't even have to have immigration in your story to know what I'm talking about. If you've ever moved to a new place, if you've ever gone away to college, if you've ever traveled abroad, then you know exactly how it feels to land in a new place where nothing is familiar and to just crave something comforting, something known, something close to your heart. And so often food can do that so easily. And so without any further delay, I would like to turn the microphone over to my good friend and respected colleague in food, Jenn Yee.
Good morning, Derek.
Good morning, Jenn. How's it
How
going?
are you, sir?
How's things going with the last time we talked to you, you'd moved into a new kitchen and it felt like the vibes were good, and are you still
Oh
there?
my God, it's so great. I love this kitchen. Dude, I've been roller skating in here.
What?
Because, I love roller skating, but it's big enough and just spacious enough that, and I just love keeping it so clean and,
Yeah.
I just, I spend a lot of time here in the kitchen, so, it needs to feel really good. So I've been roller skating in here, making stuff, and having a really good time. And looking forward to doing other things in here with some other people, you know?
Totally. Yeah. So good. I love that image of you roller skating around your kitchen. That's...
And it's funny because there's pretty big windows out the front.
Oh.
And we don't have anything up. There's no privacy, anything, so I feel like a goldfish, you know, or like some kind of caged animal sometimes, because people will drive by and they'll be stuck in traffic just kind of staring in. I'm like, yeah, I'm roller skating. Hi.
That's... I would feel a lot of joy if I saw that. Pretty great.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I've been doing. Just, you know, taking day by day and really engaging in the joy of everything, being present in the moment. So.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah.
And it's so funny that you asked about the thing, because that was really like such a big thing, a topic of discussion for us at home about what we want to do for Christmas and for a meal, and just MiYoung and I have been talking about trying to keep some of Grandma's recipes alive. It breaks my heart, but there are things that my mom, I'm noticing nowadays with her memory slipping, and it's something I want for her too, to tap into her memories of making these things, so she keeps that alive in her, hopefully also. But yeah, so we talked about making some, you know, things like kalbichim, which is braised short ribs. And that's a pretty celebratory food. And we are going to do tteokguk, which is like a rice cake. So they make these long, kind of ropey rice cakes, and then they diagonally like slice it. And so they are these pretty oval, like little rice cakes. And I would say they're about an inch in diameter. And you kind of, New Year's is more traditional, but it felt appropriate just because we all love tteokguk. Tteok is rice cake. And that represents, the broth represents like a new beginning, and the tteok represents like coins or prosperity. So it's just trying to keep those things alive, and gonna make, you know, a big meal with Mom and MiYoung, and I just appreciate that time of this multi-generational thing I feel like has been so lost for such a long time, you know.
It is interesting that came up in your family just now, as, you know, this is like something I want to explore on this podcast. I'll tell you why I'm doing this. I had like I was just going to kind of like do the normal podcast this season, but then the election happened. Right? And I was like, no, like I need to tell more meaningful stories here about the like immigrant experience, the immigrant community, you know, because immigration, right? Like so on the map right now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we need positive stories of and for people to like have some insight into what the experience is like, you know. And so this just hearing about how you're connecting back to the family story through food is, I think, so important to share right now.
Thanks for doing your work. I really have been thinking, and for your time too, because it's a conscious mindfulness that you're putting back into your community. And I couldn't agree more in that it's so important right now.
Mm-hmm.
To not let our own fires extinguish within us, and to burn it brighter. And yeah, and I have these conversations with MiYoung, and after the election, we talked about how just she was so discouraged, she was so distraught. We cried, like we just
Yeah.
but about how it's so much more important now than ever to keep on her journey, and to keep integrity, and to show compassion, and be the light you want to see, right?
Right, absolutely. Yeah, so much. Yeah. Well, yeah, I love that you're moving towards the holidays, because that's like a comfort time, right?
For sure.
I'm curious if there's anything that you either make for yourself at home or make for MiYoung that is a comfort dish from your own childhood or life experience that you still make when you have the time, and it could be special or it could be common, like either, but is there anything that you kind of keep around? I mean, I know kimchi is an obvious one, right?
Yeah. Our go-to at home is a simple kimchi fried rice.
Oh.
I take bacon and I cook off bacon, and I fry the cold rice in the rendered bacon fat. And then I mix kimchi in there. And I'll scramble an egg, throw that in there, and then take the bacon I cooked off and crumble that over on the top. Sesame seeds and green onions, chopped green onions. It's like when there's nothing else, and you kind of are like, ooh, kimchi fried rice.
Yeah. Sounds so good. So, can I ask you, I noticed that bacon and kimchi I've seen them together before, and they are so delicious together.
Oh, yeah, pork belly.
Oh, yeah, pork. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Like, in Korean culture, do they use bacon, or do they use something like
it's
it?
Pork belly mostly. But pork is predominant over beef.
Okay.
In Korea, and so pork belly is pretty standard and common.
Which is like more or less bacon, but not cured, right? It's like
right,
the same part of the animal, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then, kind of thinking forward with like MiYoung, is that something that you think I'm just thinking of my own kids, and for our house, it's like rice, boiled rice. That's like so simple, but it's like such a comfort thing. Is that dish, do you think, for MiYoung, like that for her, like a comfort dish?
Yeah, she knows rice and kimchi like the back of her hand.
I bet, yeah.
So that is definitely a basic and a staple at home. Just what I have learned through earlier years of being in the kitchen and cooking and messing around, and over the years of making kimchi, so Mom is of the post-war generation where then they got things like sugar and MSG, that were introduced, and like the microwave that made everything more modernized and easier and gave it different taste or whatever, all the things. And I've learned to take those things out. I don't put sugar as one of the ingredients a lot of folks put in kimchi, and I get why. for a little bit of the flavor purpose, the fermentation, I get it, but in my process, I have found you really don't need it, and so I've simplified my ingredients. So like the kimchi pancake, for instance, like people have a hard time believing it's two things, my kimchi and sprouted mung beans. And so I'm trying to teach her that too, just paring it down just to the basics, right? Like a little simple, humble bowl of rice and a little kimchi. It's so nourishing, and there's so much in that.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, I mean, and with modernization, we also moved away from our own health,
Oh, absolutely. So many shelf-stable things. So scary.
Right. Yeah, super scary. Yeah. In your kimchi, is there any sort of a natural sugar? Like, do you use fruit or anything else?
I don't. It's just a salt. It's just a true lacto ferment with salt.
Oh, nice.
I have made, for instance, a Granny Smith apple and watermelon radish kimchi that was delicious. And there was a little bit of that tart and sweet to it. That was really fun.
Okay. Yeah. It's good to hear, because I think it is, I mean, almost any recipe that I've ever looked at on the internet totally calls for sugar, or at the very least, like a good amount of fruit,
Yeah. And, pear is a really common ingredient in kimchi making. And I have definitely made some kimchi with pear, and that's also really delicious. It just changes the flavor profile of the kimchi I make in particular, and I think that my customer base has gotten used to. But I'm always trying to explore different ideas. I make vegan kimchi because I know that my vegan customers really appreciate that. I don't put fish sauce.
Okay. Yeah. I love that. I mean, it is really to the basics of what, because fish sauce is another thing that I almost always see online, with the stuff, but it really clearly doesn't need it. It's not like an essential thing, huh?
Absolutely. And, I use a specific brand because if you go to the stores, you'll see most fish sauces have sugar and other ingredients, and Red Boat uses anchovies and salt.
Okay.
And so it really kind of complements my style of fermenting, which is vegetables, salt, and that's it. I don't put sugar. I don't use cultures. Every batch is its own.
Oh, love that. You guys, Jenn is genuinely such a great person, and the greatness of her really shines through in her kimchi, which you can find at local farmers markets in both Santa Fe and Albuquerque. Check her out on social media. I know she's not super active there, but you can at least see where she is located, and if you're lucky enough to grab a jar of her kimchi, good on you. So as I close out this episode today, I just want to remind everyone to check out Alkeme Santa Fe's website. That's ALKEME-SantaFe.com, where you can find out where to sign up for our upcoming classes and seated dinners in January, as well as check out all of the very exciting things they are doing with Asian food right here in New Mexico. And also continue to stay tuned to the podcast. I had an ongoing conversation with Jenn that you will hear in the next episode, where we focus on the immigration experience and how food helps us through that. And once again, I just want to thank everyone for listening, for your support and enthusiasm, for the ongoing project that is Southeast by Southwest, and I look forward to sharing more with you very, very soon. To all of our listeners out there, happy holidays however you celebrate, and a joyous and prosperous new year to you. Thanks, guys.
Food trucks and chefs making magic every day. Mommy and Chow, a fiery display. Rice and complex sauces in a delicious array. Southeast by Southwest, a culinary delight. From Thailand to Albuquerque, flavors take flight. Pushing the boundaries, creating new heights.